I'm not defensive about it.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live stream and welcome to another new era at Chelsea. Liam Rosenior has been officially confirmed by the club as the next new head coach, replacing Enzo Maresca. We're going to dive into all the latest news in regards to Rosenior's appointment. We're also going to be diving into all the latest comments from Calum Mcfarlane ahead of tomorrow's game against Fulham. Rosenior will be in the stands. Mcfarlane will be on the touchline. We're going to go through all of that stuff. But yeah, the big news is that the most inevitable story imaginable, the worst kept secret in football, Liam Rosenior is now Chelsea's new head coach. And you won't believe this, guys. You will not believe this. A 6-year contract. Contract until 2032. We never learn, do we? We never learn. This ownership never learns. Graham Potter, 5-year contract, doesn't even last the season. Mauricio Pochettino wasn't a 5-year contract, but he lasted one season. Enzo Maresca, 5-year contract, lasts 18 months. Liam Rosenior, contract until 2032. Why? Why? It should be a 6-month contract and you get an extension for 2 years or whatever based on qualifying for the Champions League. A new manager coming in does not mean that the expectations for the season change. You're coming in, you're taking a job where we're 5th place, we're well in contention for the Champions League. The FA Cup run's about to start, but you've got a Carabao Cup semi-final, and you're well in contention to qualify for the knockout rounds of the Champions League. Just because the manager walks out halfway through the season, that does not mean Chelsea's expectations for the season change. You come in, you get yourself familiar with things, and you make an impact as quickly as you possibly can. If you cannot deliver Champions League football, then you should not be here next season. It is very, very simple. Very, very simple. We need to be in the Champions League, and that's it. That is it as far as I'm concerned. By the way, big up to everyone that's locked in the chat. I'll get to the chat shortly. Make sure you're smashing the likes up. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here, guys. All of that good stuff. And let's get into it then. This was the official statement from Chelsea this morning. An hour ago, Chelsea Football Club is delighted to announce the appointment of Liam Rosenior as head coach of the men's team. The Englishman has signed a contract with the club that will take him through to 2032. Rosenior arrives at Stamford Bridge after coaching overseas in Strasbourg, where he led the French club to European qualification for the first time in 19 years in his first season. The only reason they got that was because PSG won the French Cup. Because actually, Strasbourg bottled Champions League hard over the last 3 or 4 games. And then because PSG won the French Cup, they snuck into the Conference League. It's actually mental reading this. And I mean this with the greatest of respects. Chelsea should not be hiring a manager whose CV is 18 months at Strasbourg, sacked by Hull, and managed and was part of Wayne Rooney's coaching staff, and then managed Derby on an interim basis. That just shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening. On moving to the Premier League, he said, "I'm extremely humbled and honoured to be appointed head coach of Chelsea Football Club." Of course you are humbled and honoured, because you should never be in this position in the first place at this stage of your career. You haven't earned it. This is a club with a unique spirit and a proud history of winning trophies. My job is to protect that identity and create a team which reflects these values in every game we play as we continue winning trophies. To be entrusted with this role means the world to me, and I want to thank all involved for the opportunity and faith in undertaking this job. I will give everything to bring the success this club deserves. I believe deeply in teamwork, unity, togetherness, and working for one another. And those values will be at the heart of everything we do. They will be the foundation of our success. I'm excited to work with this extremely talented group of players and staff to build strong connections on and off the pitch and to create an environment where everyone feels united and driven by the same goal. There is a real hunger to win, and I will give everything every single day to help this team compete and win at the highest level to make everyone connected and proud to be a part of the football club. I want our fans to be proud of who we are and what we represent in every game we play. They are the soul of this enormous, historic and huge football club. I cannot wait to meet you all. I cannot wait to get started. Liam has shown that he can build teams with a clear way of playing while setting the highest standards with players on and off the pitch. While there will continue to be a focus on player development, the club's expectations and ambitions remain high. Yeah, of course they do. Liam has the ability to get the best out of this squad and quickly, and joins us with the responsibility and the backing. The backing, interesting. Let's see how many players he gets in January. The backing to ensure Chelsea continues to compete at a top level in all competitions this season and in seasons to come. Welcome to Chelsea, Liam. All I can say to you, brother, good luck. Good luck, because you are seriously going to need it. You are seriously going to need the best of luck, because this is going to be very, very tricky. Very tricky, But that is the statement from Chelsea. That is the statement, a few comments from Liam Rosenior. And Rosenior will be in the stands, guys. Rosenior will be in the stands at Craven Cottage tomorrow night when Chelsea take on Fulham in the London derby. He will be in the stands. So let's wait and see what happens. I mean, what are you lot saying in the chat? Win, lose, or drew Blueco out. Another Blueco puppet that will bite the dust in 12 months. Yeah, I'd love to be wrong, but I don't disagree. Just hope Liam can get Chelsea back to winning ways. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, right, I don't think anyone really agreed to this appointment or is happy with this appointment, but it's in everyone's best interests for Rosenior to do well, because we want Chelsea to do well. And so if Rosenior does well, it means Chelsea do well. And that ultimately is the most important thing for us right now. We need Chelsea to do well. And in order for that to happen, Rosenior has to do well. You can support the team and you can back the manager whilst hating the owners and whilst thinking the owners are terrible and whilst wanting the ownership out. Those two things can coincide. They can coexist with each other. We all know giving Liam a 6-year contract doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything at all. Means nothing. I don't know. Pretty much the same as Maresca. Mainly operates in a 3-4-1-2. A 3-4-1-2 out of possession. So pretty much exactly what we've been doing. Why 6.5? Because it's half a season left now because we're in January. Wish I could get £1 for every yes he's going to say. Bro, he's probably already said yes for them. Egbali's probably signed the contract for him. I hope so. I don't believe the club will do great things. I don't believe in this ownership. I don't believe in them. Do I believe in this team? Partially, but they need some big reinforcement still. But yeah, look, I wish Liam Rosenior all the best of luck. But this is going to be a tough ask for him. Yep, long contract. I believe in. Well, of course you will. I mean, yeah, I've got absolutely no idea whether he said any of that or not. Who knows? I mean, look, by the way, if Rosenior ends up doing well, I am more than happy to hold my hands up and accept that I got things wrong. But I don't think it's unpopular to think that this is not going to be a successful appointment, that this is going to be very difficult for him to do what he needs to do. That is not unpopular in my view. You know, he's got a massive job on. He's got a massive job on. Bro, he's not earned the right to be at Chelsea Football Club. He hasn't. He's done nothing in his career to suggest that he should be managing one of the biggest clubs in world football. That's my point. Look at their great history of this football club and the managers that have gone there pre this ownership. And they've deserved to be there. They're there on merit, and they're there because of their achievements and because of what they've done in the game. That's my point. You know, that's my point. Is that, in my opinion, he's not ready for this job. He's not qualified enough for this job in terms of his CV, in terms of his experience at the top level, in terms of his experience of working with top-class professional footballers. You know, that's my opinion. I want him to do well. We need him to do well. The football club needs him to do well. But it's not wrong to say that he hasn't got the credentials for this job. When you look at the managers and look at the history of Chelsea, and you see who's managed this great football club, and you see the type of managers that are now being given the job. It's wrong in my opinion. Big up, brother. Big up to you, bro. Facts. We back Rosenior because we want Chelsea to do well. Exactly. Sure, but let's see. Yeah, it is. Liam Rosenior doesn't play any different really to Enzo Maresca. Yeah, he coached Santos when he was there. I think he could well go to a 3-man midfield. He could well go to a 3-man midfield. Let's wait and see. This is what I mean. Like, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he hasn't got credentials and skills that can't make him a success at Chelsea. But we've seen, how many managers have we seen that have done far better than Rosenior, step up to big jobs and crumble big time? I'll give you Thomas Frank, for example. Exceptional job at Brentford. Steps up to Spurs. It's really, really struggling. Graham Potter did a good job at Brighton. Stepped up to Chelsea. Couldn't handle it. That's just two recent examples of managers with far better credentials than Rosenior stepping up from mid to lower level clubs, going to a big club and really, really struggling. And really struggling, you know? I don't think he has earned the opportunity because he's not done anything in his career. He got Hull City 7th and was sacked because the owner wanted more attacking football played. He was with Wayne Rooney's coaching staff at Derby County. Then he was an interim at Derby. And he's gone to Strasbourg where he's done a reasonable job. He's been all right. That should not qualify you for the Chelsea job. It shouldn't. And I don't think that's unpopular. I don't think that's a wrong thing to say. I don't think that's a wrong thing to say. I'm not really. I don't understand why. Is that a harsh thing to say, chat? Am I getting something wrong here? Is that a harsh thing to say? Well, I don't think so. I don't think it is. By the way, guys, keep smashing the like button. We're only 26 likes and there's over 100 people in here. Smash the like button. Smash the like button. Yeah, but Maresca won the championship title and he'd worked under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City as an assistant coach. Rosenior might have managed more games than Maresca did, might have managed more games than Frank Lampard had before they got the results. Sorry, before they got the Chelsea job. But in terms of experience at the highest level, Rosenior doesn't have any experience at the highest level. But again, Arteta had learned under Pep Guardiola, coached Manchester City as an assistant coach. Like Arteta was a calculated gamble. Arteta was a calculated gamble, but it was for me, it's a less of a gamble than Rosenior is. I don't want me being critical of Rosenior's right to getting this job, meaning that I won't support him when he's here. I absolutely will support him when he's here. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, the only reason he's got this job is because he's part of the Blue Co model. If he was outside of the Blue Co model, right? If he was managing like, I don't know, if he was managing in the Championship, if he was managing somewhere in Italy or whatever, or another club in France, and he was just doing a standard job, are Chelsea looking at him? I don't think they are. I don't think they are. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Yes, afternoon. Big up to you. Well, PSG are basically doing our model, but better than us. Except they sign the best players under the age of 25, and then they complement them with others, and then they complement them with proven quality. Top bins, I agree with you. And that in itself is part of the issue. I agree with you. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Just because I don't agree with the appointment, just because I don't believe that Rosenior is the right guy to do this job, I will never ever want Chelsea to lose football matches. Is Liam Rosenior the person that I wanted? Absolutely not. Do I hope he's a success? Absolutely. Anyone who doesn't want Rosenior to succeed doesn't want Chelsea to succeed. Does he seem like a likable individual from the things I've seen of him? Yeah, he does seem like a likable individual. I think it's every right to have serious doubts and be skeptical. It probably isn't going to go to plan, but you have to back every manager and player that comes in. We have to. So we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see what happens on this one. Strasbourg are not tied to PSG this season. What are you talking about? He will last 6 months. He will. Chelsea are not going to sack him before the end of the season. I mean, things would have to go disastrously wrong for that to happen. Things would have to go absolutely disastrously wrong for something like that to happen. But it doesn't mean that it can't happen. It doesn't mean that it can't happen. But yeah, I'd be very, very surprised. Yes, big up to you, brother. Big up to you. No, I'm not confident about getting top four. No. Yes, big up to you, bro. I'm completely against the appointment of Liam, but I do think Liam utilises what he's given better than Maresca. Let's wait and see. No, I wouldn't have taken Amorim or Ten Hag. No. Yes, big up to you, bro. Happy New Year to you. Oh, right. Drew 3-3 to PSG, right. But look, you look at the managers, right, that Chelsea have had under this ownership. And this ownership came in and this ownership preached about stability, about long-term stability. It's an interesting one, isn't it? It's a very interesting one. What am I looking for? Yeah, so these lot were preaching, right, about stability, wanting a long-term head coach, wanting someone to lead the project. There is no project if you keep getting rid of the manager every 12 to 18 months. There's no project doing that. There is no project. Look at what we've had so far under this ownership. Look at this chap. So under the Clear Lake Bowley, head coaches and caretakers, not even been here 4 years. So Thomas Tuchel, 106 days. Graham Potter, 206 days. Bruno Salter, caretaker, 4 days. Frank Lampard came in as an interim for 85 days. Mauricio Pochettino lasted 1 season. Enzo Maresca, 18 months. Now Calum Mcfarlane is in as a caretaker. So that's 7 people that have managed the club. And this is their 5th permanent manager in less than 4 years. And and people think that Rosenior is going to be a success. He shouldn't be here. He should not be here on a 6-year contract. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Well, obviously Maresca won 2 trophies, got us back into the Champions League. Pochettino finished 6th. Potter didn't even last the season. Tuchel was gone. Sure, but at the end of the day, bro, Chelsea are not winning a Premier League under this model anyway. So it's kind of irrelevant who the manager is, and that's what I've been trying to. That's what I've been getting at, is that it's irrelevant who the manager is. Bro, the model's not going to change. So ultimately, we're going to be a team that fights for top 4, top 5 every season, and wins a cup every so often. That's what we are now. That's what this ownership have turned us into. Is a team that qualifies for that battles for Champions League football, picks up a cup. We are never, ever challenging or winning a Premier League title under this ownership if the model doesn't change. If the model does not change, forget it. Forget it. Next year is 10 years since we won a Premier League. We haven't even challenged. We haven't even challenged. Do you know how bad that is? I don't get it. Yeah, I mean, dead toll. I'd love to. I mean, I'd love to disagree with you on that. I'd love for that to be wrong. I'd love for that, to not be the case. But it feels like we're very much going that way. No experienced, self-respecting manager will accept. No, of course they won't. And that's what happened, right? If Rosenior has any level of success here, then it's going to go the same way as it did with Maresca. He's going to want more. He's going to push for more, and they're not going to like it, and they'll get, and then that'll be the next one out. Bro, the model's not fine. The model, in principle, is okay. It just needs a few tweaks. Bro, the sporting directors are being told what to do by the ownership. They're carrying out what the ownership want from them. That's why they're still here. No, I want him to be a success. He needs to be a success for Chelsea. I've not closed the possibility on him being successful. I think it's highly unlikely, but there's a chance. But he needs to be backed, and he has to adapt very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. He has to adapt quickly to the job. Can he be a success? Yes. I'm not saying he cannot be a success. I think it's unlikely he will be, in my personal opinion, but I want him to be a success because I want Chelsea to be successful. And that is what every fan should want. Every fan should want Chelsea to be successful. And if Chelsea are successful, then we're all happy. We're all happy. Yes, big up, brother. So much for stability of what these frauds of an ownership said, which was not sacking managers. We had the best already there. I mean, look, they didn't. I mean, Tuchel basically couldn't work with them, like Pochettino, like Maresca. No, I've not written everything off. I just don't believe he's going to be a success. Am I not allowed to have that opinion? Am I not allowed to have that opinion? I want him to be a success, but I don't believe that he will be. I don't think that's a wild thing to say. We have CL to win. Yeah, in our dreams, brother. Were the New United? Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. We're taking gambles on players becoming as good as data suggests they're going to be, and now we're taking gambles on managers as well. No, let's have a look at this. What's this? Hold on a second, chat. No, I no, I haven't said he's failing. I don't believe he's going to be a success, but I want him to be a success, and I want him to prove me wrong. But I don't think he's going to be a success. What's the issue with saying that? Let's have a look at this. What's this clip here? Oh, Jesus Christ.
We hear a lot managers now speaking about their styles of play. We hear pundits speak against managers who have a style of play. The reason you have to have a style of play now as a manager, I believe, is that people know what you're about. People know what your team looks like. People know what the values and the culture that you work to, what your fundamentals are. So I left Hull, which is a fantastic club, and I felt we did a really, really good job there in a short space of time, just missing out on the playoffs. And I had a call out of the blue from Paul Winstanley, who is an outstanding operator in football. I worked with at Brighton. He said, because of the work I had done, they were really, really interested in me moving over to Strasbourg.
Paul Winstanley is an outstanding operator. Brother, it's jobs for the boys. It's jobs for the boys. Played for Brighton. Knows Winstanley. Knows Lawrence Stewart from a time at Hull. Jobs for the boys. That's what it is. Nobody's here on merit. Everyone's just hiring their mates. And it's not acceptable, chat. It's not acceptable. Winstanley, an outstanding operator. Please spare me, brother. Spare me. Winstanley is not an outstanding operator. The only thing he's outstanding at is wasting millions and millions of pounds on bang average players. Bro, this is the vibes. Paul Winstanley, outstanding operator. Chat, we might be cooked already. Let's hope we're not, but we might be.
And putting that into practice there. So already I felt like I had a board and a backing of people who were aligned with what I wanted to do. And what I would say as well, in terms of British coaches, if you look at Germany, if you look in Portugal or Spain, or even Italy or France, their younger coaches are exposed to the top level, to the top league earlier than our English coaches are here. You know, that's because of the strength of the Premier League. That's because of the corporate power, the financial power. Teams don't want to take, in quotes, risks. So the best way for an English coach to get in the Premier League is to be promoted from the Championship, which we all know is really, really difficult. It's about exposure at an early age and being able to show what you can do. And I couldn't be more privileged or happy to be now in a top 5 league with the youngest team in Europe, and we're exciting people over here. People in France enjoy the way that we play. And that makes me a really, really proud.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that, chap. Look, we just gotta, you know, we got to do one of these, chat. We just got to go one of those and just pray that this is going to work out. That's what it is. You just got to back the manager. You just got to back the manager at the end of the day. That's all we can do. Backing the manager doesn't mean you support the ownership. It doesn't mean that. But that is all we can do, chat, is back this manager and hope for the best. No, he can't. He can't. But it's a concern to see Winstanley being described as an outstanding operator. And it's not good news. British coach knows won the Premier League. No, I know that. Yeah, and that's fine, and that's fine. I really don't see why it's a problem to say that you're not confident about this appointment. I really don't get that. If people are confident about it, that's absolutely fine. I don't agree with that trail of thought, but I respect everyone's right to an opinion. But why is it a problem if I think this is not a good appointment? I don't get it. No, he did. He doubled. Yeah, outstanding operator. Yeah, and look, you have to look. As I said, we had that up on screen earlier, chat. We had it up on screen earlier in the managers that we've had at this football club since this ownership took over. No one's lasted longer than 18 months. It's been 12 to 18 months. And this is football. This is not corporate environment. This is a football club. And these guys who have come in with no background in football whatsoever, they're a private equity firm, and they think they know how to win. They think they know football. They don't. If you don't know football, like Egg Barley has got no idea about football whatsoever, when you come in, you go and appoint the best people possible to lead your project. You go and get the best sporting director. You go and get the best manager, and you sign the best players. Luis Campos should have been leading this Chelsea project. He should have been leading this Chelsea project. We could have had Luis Enrique in charge, but he went down to Chelsea and he said, no, not for me, not under you. And we've got, why have we the only club with more than one sporting director? Not just one. Not just one. Why have we got 5? Why are there 5 sporting directors at Chelsea? Why? Why are there 5 sporting directors at Chelsea? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. Bro, this was the only manager they could get. This was the only manager these lot could get. This was the only one. This was the only one. Chat, we're 171 in the building. We're only 62 likes. Keep smashing that like button. Smash that like button. Let's get this up to 100 likes. There's more than enough people in here. The likes should be on 100. Run it up, chat. Run it up. Yeah, exactly. And then the solution to that is to go and ruin another club's season by nicking their manager halfway through the season. It's ridiculous. And Strasbourg are far from happy with this as well. Strasbourg are far from happy. They have put out a statement as well. Not Strasbourg, the actual club, the Strasbourg Supporters Club. The transfer of Liam Rosenior marks another humiliating step in Racing's subservience to Chelsea. For 2.5 years, along with others, we have been trying to raise the alarm about this. The problem goes far beyond the mid-season sporting impact and the ambitions of a young coach. It is structural. The future of French football is at stake. Every additional contortion by Mark Keller, every extra minute spent at the helm of the club is an insult to the tremendous work accomplished before 2023. What was seen by many as an outrageous move last September increasingly looks like sound advice. He must leave now. The the Football Supporters Association of Strasbourg will coordinate closely with the 3 other associations actively fighting against multiple ownership, as well as all people of goodwill to define the next steps. I mean, they're damning. And I stand with our Strasbourg brothers. I stand with our Strasbourg brothers. Salute to you guys. because what is happening right now is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. I don't believe in multi-club ownership. I think it's wrong because it only benefits really one club more than the other. I think it's a disgrace. I genuinely think multi-club ownership is a disgrace. And we have to respect, like, if you cannot see why this is a problem, then I don't know what to say. Well, this is a big, big problem. Because this is the equivalent. Imagine Chelsea being a feeder club to a Man City or an Arsenal or something along those lines. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. You know, it's a disgrace because, and I feel sorry for their fans because basically any time that this ownership fucks up at Chelsea, they just go to Strasbourg, nick their manager or their players and collapse their plans. It's not football. That is not football. That is not football. That is using another club to cover up for your deficiencies and for your mistakes and for your gross mismanagement. I've not given up on him. I don't believe he'll be a success, but I'll be backing him and supporting him. Who in the chat genuinely believes that Liam Rosenior will be a success at Chelsea? Let me know. I want him to be a success. I want him to be a success. I want him to do well. But I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical. I don't think he's got the credentials. I don't think he's got the experience. I don't think he's ready for it right now. I think this job is way too big for him. Does that mean he can't adapt? And does that mean he can't be a success? No. But those factors, to me, in my opinion, point to him not being a success. Why is it such an issue to have an opinion that I don't think he'll be a success? I don't know. It depends what happens. It depends what happens. You know, we need to get Champions League football. We need to get Champions League football. That is the most important thing right now. If we don't get Champions League football, then yeah, I would be worried about Cole Palmer being here in 12 to 18 months' time. I would be concerned about him being here. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion. If I don't think he's going to be a success, that doesn't make me a bad person. And if you think Rosenior is going to be a success, doesn't make you a bad person either. No, I'm not hoping for failure whatsoever. I want more than anything for Chelsea to be successful. I want us to win things. I want us to finish as high as possible. I want us to get trophies. And so I want the manager to do well. However, I'm struggling with positives for this appointment and positives in terms of seeing how he could be a success here. He's got good skills that could transfer over to this job. He will have my backing and I will support him and I want him to do well. And I want him to change my mind. I want nothing more than to come back here in 6 months or 12 months' time and say, do you know what? I was wrong. You proved me wrong. You did a good job. You stepped up and you've succeeded when people doubted you. I would love nothing more than for that to happen. I want that to happen. I don't want to be sat here in 6 months, in 12 months, having the same conversation, looking for another manager. I don't want to do that. I feel that I'm being realistic. I feel that I'm being fair. You know, it's big up to you, brother. I don't think we know what we're doing. But look, at the end of in my opinion, right, and I've said this multiple times, this should have been a 6-month contract. This should have been you come in. If you don't get us Champions League football, you're gone. That's what it should have been. Should have been 6 months with an option for a further 18 or a further 24. That's what it should have been. 6 months plus 2 years or whatever. That's what the contract should have been. Because now, what this is saying is that regardless of what happens this season, this guy's going to be here next season. And that shouldn't be acceptable. Just because you've got rid of a manager, just because a manager's walked out halfway through the season, does not mean the expectations change. So Rosenior has to get Champions League football. And if he doesn't, then he does not deserve to still be here. All right, let's go. I'm going to have to go back. That was chat. So much stuff coming in. I'm going to have to go to the bottom. Right? I will absolutely be here. I am always here. One thing about me is I don't hide away. And if I've got something wrong, well, I'll hold my hands up and I'll apologize. And I'll very much eat the humble pie if he does well. I just don't believe that he will. But I'm waiting to be won over by him. I'm waiting to be won over by him. But Strasbourg supporters have got every right to be fuming. Every right to be fuming. I think Chelsea fans have got every right to be annoyed, to be disappointed, to feel uninspired by this. You know, he's got to work well within this. Let's wait and see. I want this manager to do well. This manager needs to do well. We can't be here again in 12 to 18 months' time having the same conversation, chat. We can't be here again. We can't be here again. You know, that is the worst thing to happen, is if we're here again in 6 to 12 months' time. And that's why, chat, that's why the protest is so important. Is to get your message across, get your voice heard, and try and implement change. Because unfortunately, this great football club that we all love so much will never get back to competing and winning for Premier League titles until the model changes. Until the model changes, we just won't see that. We just won't see that. We just won't see it. Oh, God. Oh, God. Is this... chat, bear with me. I'm just going to... I've got the Don Hussan as WhatsApp to me with a voice note. I'm just going to... Oh, chat, we're just going to see if this is playable on stream. I'm going to see if this is playable on stream. Hold on. Let me just give it a quick listen first, and then we'll see if... yeah, anyway. Has Strasbourg agreed at a deal in principle with Gary O'Neill, chat? Is that the next thing? Was that the next thing? Yeah, they have. Strasbourg have agreed a deal in principle for Gary O'Neill to be their new head coach. Contract to be finalised and signed, but 42-year-old on the verge of taking charge of the league outfit. Well, there we go then. There we go. Gary O'Neill to... No, I totally agree with you, bro. I totally agree with you. You know, if you think this is going to be a success, then that's great. You know, I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm just not seeing the positives really. I'm not seeing the positives. But hey, maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, and maybe this is going to be a genius appointment and he's going to win us the Champions League. Maybe that's going to be this. Maybe that's going to be the case. Well, yeah, it would appear so. Brother, I'm happy to take a portion of that 86k salary. Send it my way. You can stuff it in with the brown envelopes that will come at the end of each month. So yeah, please do. Well, it's not the success that we want, but top 4 in a cup would like we all would have taken that at the start of the season. We all would have taken that at the start of the season. Top 4 in a cup. We would have taken Champions League football and a cup. We all would have taken that. Is that what Chelsea should be striving to achieve? Absolutely not. We should be striving for much more than that. But unfortunately, with the way that we're run and with the way that this ownership operates, winning a Champions League and challenging and winning a Premier League title is not part of the plan. It's not part of the remit. It's not possible with this current squad. It's not possible, chat. So we have to hope that maybe some changes can be made. They have to get the top 4. They have to get top 4. Let's have a look at this article. Let's see what Nazar Kinsella has said about why Chelsea have chosen Liam Rosenior. Rosenior. Oh, fuck knows. Why Chelsea have opted for Liam Rosenior, a seamlessly stylistic choice, a perfect blue co-manager. Well, obviously, because he's a yes man. Improves young players, experience handling off-field situations. Let's give this a read. So, since leaving Hull, Rosenior has built a reputation as one of Europe's brightest young managers. Described as an innovator and someone going straight to the top, the 41-year-old has impressed the Chelsea hierarchy, working in the same structure that led to friction between them and Enzo Maresca. But why have they opted for another relatively inexperienced manager? And is Rosenior ready for the Premier League? There is pressure on Chelsea to get this appointment right, with some supporters chanting the name of Roman Abramovich during Sunday's draw at City. It is against that backdrop they have turned to a man who is well known to key figures at Stamford Bridge. And this is the problem. They're just going for a safe choice. Mates. Oh, we worked with this guy before. We know this guy. And this is what I mean. People should be getting jobs on merit. You should be getting the job because you've earned it, because of what you've done in the game, because you've been successful, because you've proven that you can manage at the highest level, because you've proven that you've got the credentials. Rosenior hasn't got the credentials yet because he's right at the beginning of his coaching career. He should have stayed at Strasbourg, continued to develop his craft, and then take a step up from Strasbourg, maybe come to the Premier League at a lesser team. You know, that's my thing. Is that we're not a Brighton or a Crystal Palace type club where you can take younger managers, give them a chance, develop them, and they get picked off by a top club. How on earth are we going with a young, inexperienced squad and a young, inexperienced manager. We're gambling on transfers, and now we're gambling on managers. The whole club is a gamble. The whole club is a gamble. Everything we're doing is based on a gamble, chat. And that's not good enough. That's not good enough in my view. By the way, chat, what's also not good enough is we're 160 in the building, only 89 likes. Keep smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds. Run the likes up. Get this up over 100 likes. That is crucial, chat. Absolutely crucial. Let's get there. Let's get there. Yeah, Arteta's got one FA Cup. A COVID FA Cup, which was basically handed to him with Emery's squad and Anthony Taylor sending off Kovacic incorrectly. Let's carry on reading this anyway. This is the most seamless option. There is pressure on Chelsea to get this point right. Yep, Rosenior's first. Oh, of course he did. Rosenior first met Chelsea's sporting directors Winstanley and Stewart more than 15 years ago while playing for Brighton. Oh my God. Consider me absolutely shocked. Consider me shocked. I never would have seen that closely coming. It gets better, guys. It gets even better. So not only did he meet the sporting directors 15 years ago while playing for Brighton, Sam Jewell, Chelsea's director of global recruitment, also taken from Brighton. Guess what, chap? Worked closely with Rosenior when he began coaching Brighton's under-23s after he retired. Oh my God. Rosenior, I guess better, Rosenior also knew Stewart during his time as an analyst at Hull, where he played and later managed. It's a Ponzi scheme, chap. It's employ your mates. That's what it is. It's not the best people for the job. If they're known to you, you're getting a job. It's jobs for the boys. It's jobs for the boys. This is what it is, chat. Jobs for the boys. Last summer during the Club World Cup, he travelled to the US with Strasbourg president Mark Keller to meet Chelsea's leadership, and Bedebeg, Barley and Todd Chelsea leadership and its owners, Barley and Bowley, have made regular visits to the French club. He was always seen as a potential successor to Maresca, but a mid-season change was not planned. Chelsea hoped Rosenior could continue to build experience at Strasbourg, but Maresca's comments at the end of last year forced the owners into a change. They see their new man, who favours a similar possession-based style, as the most seamless option. Sources close to Rosenior also believe he has a more empathetic tone of communication, drawing on lessons from his mother, Karen, who's a social worker. Really? He will face scrutiny over his perceived rawness, but Chelsea will point to the fact he has more experience than Maresca when he was appointed in 2024. Maresca have, of course, won the championship, while Rosenior has yet to lift the trophy. But the incoming coach has managed 153 games at Hull and Strasbourg, compared with Maresca's 67. However, Maresca was Pep's assistant during City's treble-winning season. There is also the issue of Rosenior coming to Chelsea on a bad run of form, having won none of his past 5 League One matches and just 2 in 10, having dropped 13 points from winning positions. We've dropped 15 points from winning positions. We've dropped 15 points from winning positions. So Rosenior's coming in off the back of a terrible run of form at Strasbourg. French football expert Julien Laurent told BBC 5 Live, I really believe the owners put him in a Strasbourg job to get him ready for the Chelsea job one day. I think if he showed he could be capable at Strasbourg, which is taking a team which was almost going down into Europe, taking it close to Champions League qualification, which is what he did last season. I think that showed his potential. It showed his development and showed his ability to improve the team and players individually. Will Rosenior be any different? Maresca has picked the youngest average starting 11, aged 24 years and 198 days in the Premier League so far this season. But the Blues' confident history is unlikely to repeat itself with Rosenior, who at Strasbourg led the youngest team in Europe's Big 5 leagues. They believe he understands the brief, which places significant importance on improving young players, either to sell or take the club to the next level. No, just to sell. Among his successes at Strasbourg, Rosenior has developed Emmanuel Omega to a level that means he's set to join Chelsea next season. In addition to this, he guided his young squad to a 7th place finish last season, earning a Conference League spot and matching a position achieved only twice since 1981. There will be inevitable accusations that Chelsea are bringing in Rosenior as a yes man. Former Blues winger Pat Nevin told BBC Sport the club, before the appointment, he thought the club would get someone in who is young and easy to manipulate. Facts. Chelsea needs someone who's going to buy into the methodology. Another way to say that is you need a puppet, someone who does exactly what they are told from above. Chelsea, of course, would say Rosenior is not a puppet. Of course, they'll say that. And they have simply hired an outstanding candidate capable of taking the club forward. Right, the last bit of this. Rosenior has built a reputation as a rising star in coaching. Yeah, it's just not great, chat. It's just not great. Oh, it is just hire mates, guys. And that's why it's so disappointing, is because the standards are so low right now. The standards are so low right now. But hey, you know, let's see what happens. As I've said, I want him to do well. Do I believe in him? No, but he can change. He can change my mind, and I want him to change my mind. I'm sitting here saying to Liam Rosenior an open message: please change my mind. Please be a success. Please win the Chelsea fans over who are unsure, who are doubting you. Please prove us wrong. Please prove me wrong. I want to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong. And I hope I am. Let me just bring this up. Yeah, no, we know the Strasbourg president wants to resign. We've seen that. We've seen that. But my point is, right, I mean, none of this is Liam Rosenior's fault. None of this is Liam Rosenior's fault, by the way, because of course he's going to accept the job. Of course, you know, it's a massive opportunity for him. And of course, all of these things, you know, none of this is his fault. But he shouldn't be the manager of Chelsea Football Club. That's all I'm saying. I want to be proven wrong. I want this to be the biggest success imaginable. Desperately need this to be a success. But ultimately, like, the manager at Chelsea right now is irrelevant because we all know that the issue is from above. We all know the issues are from above, chat. The issues are from above. But we'll be there tomorrow at the cottage, cheering the boys on. Calum Mourinho, final time on the touchline. Calum Mourinho. Yeah. Calum Mourinho, final time on the touchline. Rosenior will be watching from the stands. And look, you know, let's see how he does. That's all we can do. Give the guy a chance. That's it. I've got no expectations. Give him a chance. Let's hope he can do a good job. That's it for me. I don't really have anything further to add in that regard. Not really got anything further to add in that regard. I just think, do your best, brother. Do your best. Just do your best, bro. And this is nothing against Liam Rosenior, because this could have been anyone. This could have been anyone. But this is we're talking about Chelsea Football Club. We're talking about Chelsea Football Club. And in 2026, that CV gets you a 6-year contract at Chelsea. That's not right. That's not right. And this is not about Rosenior. This is about Chelsea. This is about the ownership. How can that get you a 6-year contract at Chelsea? That's my point. I don't dislike Liam Rosenior. I've got no problem with Liam Rosenior. But that should not get you a 6-year contract at Chelsea. It shouldn't get you a 6-year contract at Chelsea. Bro, Vincent Kompany won the championship with Burnley. He'd managed in the Premier League with Burnley. He also was like Bayern Munich's 10th choice. But also, you cannot compare Bayern Munich to Chelsea. You're going to Bayern Munich, right, with top-class players, world-class players, an elite-level squad in a league that they're the best team by a mile. That is not the same as going to Chelsea. Vincent Kompany coming to Chelsea would be a huge gamble. Vincent Kompany going to Bayern Munich is not much of a gamble because of the squad that he's got, because of the class of player that he's got, and because of the level of the league. No, he won't get the support he needs. The club won't back him in January. He should be backed in January. There should be players signed. The best thing we'll get is maybe Mamadou Sarr's. We recall Mamadou Sarr from loan. That's potentially the best that we'll get, chat. That's potentially the best we'll get. Bro, Matisse is living. Matisse is living. No, we won't. Omega's not our player to recall. Omega's not our player to recall. That is a pre-agreement for him to join in the summer. Do you really think with relations how they are right now between Chelsea and Strasbourg that we're going to do another thing to piss them off and take their best striker 6 months earlier than we should do? I don't think that's... I don't think we can be doing that. I do not believe that we cannot be doing that. Yeah, so that's not going to happen. I mean, Gary O'Neill to Strasbourg is an interesting one. I mean, I don't think he deserves that job either, given what he's done. So, yeah, we hope for the best. We hope for the best. Yeah, he did. He did. I think he threw a water bottle at Rosenior or something because he was pissed that he wasn't subbed on earlier. It's good to see that, we're doing our background checks on players and, since Jackson left for a lack of discipline, that we've signed players with much better discipline in Delap and Omega. I'm delighted that we've done that. Absolutely delighted that we've done that, chat. Absolutely delighted, guys. No, bro, that story is true. That story is absolutely true. I promise you. That story is absolutely true, chat. Absolutely true. Yeah, there's been plenty of positive stuff on this channel many times. But right now, it's not particularly positive feeling around the football club. And that needs to change. That needs to change. And I hope that does change. Right, let's have a look at this. Hold on, chat. There's a few more bits coming in now. Let's have a quick look. Hold on. There's a few important things here. A few important things have come through. So according to Carve Solocol at Sky Chat, Liam Rosenior has a break clause in his contract. Obviously to be expected, you know, any manager, any player signing that length of deal, both ways, employer and of course employee, there will be a break clause in the contract. Of course there will. There's got to be a way out. But Liam Rosenior has a break clause in his contract. I've got no idea. Potentially Will Still, Eric Ramsey, those kind of players, managers even. No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Reports suggesting that Chelsea's plans haven't changed in regards to January just because of new managers come in. So I don't think there will be. I don't think there will be anything particularly different in this regard. I don't think there will be anything particularly different. So yeah, there's a break clause, but more interesting is this stuff here from the supporters group, or is it a supporters group or whatever it is? Where have those quotes gone? Oh, here we go. So the Chelsea leadership team tell us why they are doing this youth-led strategy. The club recognises that there are around 5 European teams that are effectively impossible to compete with directly on a financial level due to differences in overall revenue, stadium income and state ownership. PSG, Bayern, Barca, Real Madrid and Man City. Oh, do I have a subscription to this? Right, so there's an article here. What's that saying? There is no new stadium. There is no new stadium. You know, that's a massive issue as well. There's no new stadium. Yeah, I agree. And this is not a Rosenior issue. This is an ownership issue. This is a Blue Co issue. This is the fact that these guys have done a job nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near the level required. Nowhere near. No, they're not. They're not. People have got this idea that the pitch owners are holding Chelsea back from a new stadium. They're not. No proposal has been presented by the ownership to the pitch owners to vote on. Nothing's been presented to vote on. So that is factually incorrect. There's no proposal. Looks like Earl's Court is just going to let that slip for our hands. And then there's nothing else other than to knock down Stamford Bridge and rebuild it and go and play at Wembley for 5 or 6 years or however long it takes. Yeah, bro, it's not that easy. If you need to stay in the immediate area, there are no... Chelsea's location for a stadium is very unique. So you need to understand that there's not vast areas of land for a new stadium like that. Mate, I've just said that it's very difficult to find a site, and which is why it's even more annoying. Why have they not just gone in and dealt with the Earl's Court situation? Get Earl's Court as a site there to go and build on and get a new stadium. That is the only place that Chelsea can move to in the area. So now it's going to be a knockdown Stamford Bridge and rebuild it at some point, whenever that happens, which I don't know when it will be. Well, they should have got themselves together and got Earl's Court. They should have gone and got Earl's Court. There should be more information about the stadium or plans for the stadium almost 4 years into this ownership. Not only is there nothing in regards to the stadium, there's still no front of shirt sponsor. You know, these are the problems that we've got right now, chat. These are the problems that we've got. Is what it is. But look, looks like Man United could be a bigger joke than us anyway, because it looks like they're about to repoint Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Solskjaer with Evans as assistant. So things aren't great at Chelsea right now. The ownership's unbackable right now. Unbackable, in my opinion. Completely unbackable. Completely no belief in them whatsoever to do the right thing for this football club. But they've got opportunities to change that. They're just choosing not to. They could very easily change the perception of them by signing some proven quality players, by appointing a decent manager. They could change the perception of them quite easily. They just don't want to. They're choosing not to. They're refusing to adapt anything. Refusing to adapt anything. Refusing to adapt anything, chat. You know, that's it. Because we spent the money so badly. And that's the issue here, chat. That is the issue here. Is that it's not about, oh, this ownership have not spent money. They have spent money. The problem is, if they've wasted so much money and they've put together a squad that isn't good enough and put together a squad that is incomplete. That in itself is entirely unacceptable. Entirely unacceptable. Probably not. When will we hear about the charges against us? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. No idea. No, absolutely not happening. It's absolutely not happening. I can confirm categorically no Vinicius Jr. to Chelsea. Chat, we're still over 150 in the building. Only 107 likes. Come on, guys. Get these likes up. We've got to be getting to 150 likes minimum. Come on, chat. Keep smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds to do. Run it up. Run it up. Run it up, chat. No, Maresca probably was lied to, but Maresca would definitely have been lied to, but he would have accepted the conditions at the club, absolutely. Yeah, Maresca wanted to change things because he was ambitious, because he wanted to push the club forward, because he knew that we needed more to compete for a Premier League title and to challenge for the top honours. So managers know what they're signing up for. But then the club, when you have success, should listen to the manager and adjust accordingly, not just chuck them out because they've spoken out against them. This is entirely on the club. I don't place blame at Maresca for walking out, because you cannot be in a situation where you have some level of success, you ask for more, you want more, you show ambition for more, you want this club to push on to the next level, and the ownership are just like, nah, we're not doing that. They're trying to manipulate things from above. They're trying to have influence on team selections, on minutes that players are playing, on all this sort of stuff. There's no coincidence that Poch walked out, that Maresca walked out, that no top manager wants to be seen dead working in these conditions. There's a reason for that. That's essentially it, bro. That's essentially what it boils down to, is that. That is essentially what it boils down to. That is essentially what it boils down to. Yeah. I absolutely agree on that. Oh no, he did overachieve last year. He overachieved last year. He absolutely overachieved last year. Yeah, and we could have done that, but the ownership refused to do it. They refused to pay the money. If you want top players, you have to pay top money. And these guys are not prepared to do that. And that's why they're constantly getting left behind. At least say an Osimhen should be in this team. And there's no reason other than the fact that they did not want to pay the money. They didn't want to pay the money. But the message is simple, chat. Obviously, Blue Co out, but we should all want Rosenior to succeed because we want Chelsea to succeed. That's what we want. Oh, no, look, no one's foolish enough to believe that Rosenior is going to even see out half of that contract. No one's foolish enough to believe that he'll see out half of it. But yeah, it's not looking great, chat. It's not looking great. Check Simon Phillips. Let's have a look. Let's see. But let's give this a read. Let's give this a read. Let's give it a read, chat, and see what it's saying. Inside Chelsea, the truth about the project. Myself and at the Blues feed met with the decision makers at Chelsea just after Christmas. Danny Windsor has written out his views on the context given to us after we pressed him on a number of issues. Right, let's read this then. So, recently I had the opportunity to sit down with Chelsea's sporting leadership team to discuss the project, raise concerns and gain a clearer understanding of the long-term strategy. I hope this article provides insight into Chelsea's inner workings and explains why I remain positive about where the club can go if execution is right. The key concerns I highlighted were a youth-focused recruitment strategy leading to inconsistent performances, inexperience across the club, gaps within the squad, whether the project can realistically deliver major trophies, whether Chelsea's ambition is to win titles or simply secure top 4 finishes. First, it was important to understand where this strategy comes from and why Chelsea believe it's necessary. The club recognises there are around 5 European teams who've done that. Attempting to compete in the same way long-term would leave Chelsea vulnerable. In truth, that way of working was already showing signs of strain under Roman. While successful in cups, Chelsea's league form fluctuated significantly. The club last won the league title in 16-17, and across the remaining seasons under Roman, Chelsea averaged a 4th place finish, around 25 points off the title. In truth, Chelsea have not yet found the right balance between the two, resulting in inconsistent performances and a significant number of drop points from winning positions. While the youthfulness of the squad has played a role in this, it is far from the only factor. Maresca's limited ability to influence games from the bench also contributed to these issues. Chelsea understand the knockout competitions like the FA and League Cup or even the Champions League can be won with favourable draws and timely form. Look at the Club World Cup in the summer. The true litmus test, however, is the league. You cannot fluke 38-game season. This reality drove the decision to commit to a full rebuild, lowering the average squad age, restructuring wages and building a sustainable future while still remaining competitive in the present. Importantly, the minimum expectation at Chelsea has not changed. Champions League qualification every season remains the baseline. Much of the rebuilding work has now been completed and the current squad should be capable of finishing in the top 5 this season and beyond. That does not mean Chelsea will stop investing. Rather, a significant amount of groundwork has already been laid. I'm not sure about that. It is also worth noting that Chelsea have not been operating freely in the transfer market. PSR restrictions during 2024 alongside UEFA sanctions last season limited flexibility. Those UEFA issues have now been navigated and upcoming changes to PSR rules should offer greater room to manoeuvre. This should not be interpreted as a radical shift in strategy, but it will provide more freedom moving forward. Chelsea's next challenge is closing the gap to the teams above and then competing consistently for Premier League and Champions League. Crucially, the club wants to sustain that level once reached rather than spike and fall away again. Everything Chelsea do is framed for the long-term benefit. The club does not want to mortgage its future for short-term optics. It does not mean Chelsea will never sign older players or without resale value, but such deals make sense holistically. There is no under-23s only rule. To date, under this sporting leadership, the right opportunity has not yet presented itself. That's bullshit. Take Antoine Semenyo, for example, a £65 million fee plus wages exceeding 200k. I don't believe wages exceeding 200k. I don't believe that. Will significantly disrupt the wage structure. However, if in future a player represents the missing piece in the title push, the club would not hesitate to act. But the thing is, chat, we hear that so many times before. Until we actually see that actioned, we're not going to believe it. We're not going to believe it. Until we see it actioned, like, how are you supposed to believe that? One key takeaway from the meeting was the level of self-reflection and accountability within the club. Bro, there's no accountability. Despite media portrayals, the sporting team is under immense pressure to deliver, but it is also protected and empowered to make decisions aligned with the club's long-term interests. Without this structure, clubs end up making reckless win-now decisions that cause long-term damage. Another thing I want to point out is they know they haven't been perfect. They know they've made mistakes, and they have processes in place to ensure the same mistakes aren't made. So I'll believe that when I see it. There's little value in dwelling on Maresca now that he's departed. However, it's clear that the relationship had broken down and changed. Outside of the other issues, Chelsea should be the destination, not a stepping stone. If a manager or player is openly flirting with other clubs, they should be moved on. Yeah, okay, whatever. Contrary to some reports, Chelsea categorically deny influencing team selection. Of course they categorically deny it. Recruiting manager involvement. Claims that Maresca was not consulted on transfers are simply false. He approved all summer signings and was actively involved throughout the process. Again, obviously the club are going to say that. While he did want a centre-back, he was unwilling to sanction departures to create space, and no suitable option emerged following the pursuit of Dean Huijsen. Chelsea are expected to pursue another elite attacking option this summer. The club is also aware that it lacks physicality relative to rivals and will look to address this. Centre-back and striker remain areas of monitoring, with pathways also being considered for players already owned by the club. As mentioned at the start, I've entered this process with concerns. Many of them have been addressed, and I feel more confident about Chelsea's long-term direction. One thing's very clear to me is throughout the club, there is a passion for us to succeed and a real togetherness, which we saw in the 1-1 draw with City. Every single player, coach, director, all pulled together, and I just don't believe this. One thing someone said to me really struck, as I felt like this is a Chelsea. I felt like this as a Chelsea fan for a long time. We are at war with every other club in the Premier League and Europe to achieve the goals we want. This all said, the proof will come through execution and the results we get. Strategy alone guarantees nothing. Yeah, look, I don't know. Let's see. But again, they can say all they want about their plan, but the execution is the key. The execution is key. Absolutely key, because no one's going to buy into anything. No one's going to believe in anything unless it's executed. So it's all very well saying of all these things, but the proof will be in the execution. And right now, the execution has been woeful. The execution's not been good enough, chap. It's not been good enough whatsoever. It's not been good enough. So let's look. Let's see what we can do. And let's see if we can improve. Let's see if they're actually serious about improving this team and bringing, a better quality of player in. Let's see. Let's see if they are serious about that. Because everyone can talk a good game and everyone can say things and big up their plan and their process, but nothing beats the reality of actually implementing the process and the process being successful. So those are the things that we need to look at. Actions speak louder than words. They always have and always will. So we have to wait and see now, chat. We have to wait and see what we can do here. Chat, we're at 120 likes. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. Let's get this to 150 if we can. Get this up to 150 likes, chat. It's free. It takes seconds to do. Make sure you're smashing that like button. Run it up. Let's get this to 150 likes. Wow, Enzo Maresca has released a statement on Instagram, chat. Enzo Maresca has released a statement on Instagram. Where's this Maresca thing? And he comes from Italy. We're not going to do that anymore. Maresca. Well, here he is. Right, let's bring it up. No, because I've not brought it up yet, chat. Bear with me. Here it is. Let's go through the pictures. There he is. World champs. There he is with his family. Fair play. I love how Maresca's taking a step back and Trump's just getting amongst it. Conference League, family, yeah. Fair play to you, brother. Fair play to you. Leave this world a little better than you found it. My journey with Chelsea began with the preliminary rounds of the Conference League. I leave with the inner peace of leaving a prestigious club like Chelsea where it deserves to be. I want to thank all the Chelsea fans for their support over the last 18 months. Support that was crucial to achieving Champions League qualification, winning the Conference League and winning the Club World Cup. Victory that I will always hold in my heart. A special thank you to all the players who have accompanied me on this wonderful journey. I wish everyone who has shared that every moment with me, every success in the second half of the season and in the future. Thank you, Chelsea, from me and my family. Not a single mention or word of thanks to the ownership at all. Now, that could be that maybe I'm looking too much into that, but maybe there is meaning to that. This guy hates this ownership. Let's be real. But fair play to him. You know, he's come out, little statement there, and that's now the closure of that chapter. That's now the closure of that chapter. But yeah, no farewell to the ownership. So there, yeah. Big up to him. Yep. Thank you, Enzo. To be fair, he waived a lot of the money. He waived a lot of the money. Yeah, basically. Yeah, he won under the dictatorship and then he walked out. I respect him for that. I respect him for that. And I will not be supporting this ownership until they fix up and change their ways. That is that simple for me. Until they fix up and change their ways, there will be no support of the ownership from me. But there it is. Fair play, Enzo. Well done, lad. So yeah. I don't buy Chelsea merch anyway. We've got a shirt sponsor, get sent shirts. I don't buy shirts from the club shop. I don't buy any Chelsea merchandise. But you also realise that buying a shirt really isn't contributing very much to the football club at all. Yeah, look, the ownership have got to win a lot of people over. Very few Chelsea fans like this ownership. No, I wasn't ever roaming out because we had the best players playing for the football club and we appointed the top managers. So no, I was never roaming out because he's not done what this ownership are doing. I was never roaming out because we had the best squad, we had the best players, we signed the best players, we strive to sign the best players. So no, I wasn't. I can't stand this ownership. I can't wait for the day that this ownership leaves. Unless they fix up. Unless they fix up, chat. Only time will tell if they fix up and change their ways. But if they don't change their ways, this football club is not going to be successful. This football club will be a top 4, top 5 every season and pick up a cup here and there. That's not what we are. This is Chelsea. This is Chelsea. Vast majority of the time we did. Vast majority of the time we did. No, they're not going to do anything for short-term game. They're not. So yeah, we just have to hope for the best, chat. That's all we can do. Support the team and hope for the best. There's nothing else to it. There's nothing else to it. I wish Liam all the best. I'll be supporting Liam, and I want Liam to prove me wrong. Please, please prove me wrong, Liam. I think every Chelsea fan wants to be proven wrong. I mean, it's just a shame that Bowley's not in sole charge. The issue is not Bowley. The issue is the Clearlake consortium. If he could have partnered up with a different consortium or something like that, it would have been better. Our best hope now is Bowley can find the money to buy out Clearlake and he be the sole guy in charge. That's our best short-term hope. That's our only short-term hope, chat. We have to see. But I don't think Bowley's going to be able to do that. So, yeah, it's just a case of Do what you can, guys. Do what you can. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, no, bro. And that's what the evidence would suggest. That's what the evidence would suggest right now, is that probably is going to happen. But let's just hope it doesn't. But all the evidence is pointing to that's going to happen. But the players have not shown they're good enough over the course of 38 games. The players have shown they're good enough in one-off games, and they've shown they're good enough in a run of 6 or 7 games. They have not shown they're good enough to challenge for a Premier League title or be consistent over the number of games needed to challenge and win titles. No, Liam doesn't play a back three. It'll be a back three out of possession, or in possession, sorry. But no, it won't be. It's not a back three. The system is very, very similar to what Maresca was implementing. Very similar to what Maresca was implementing, chat. Well, that's my honest opinion. I'll back him, but I don't think he'll be successful. It's up to him to prove me wrong. I'm not going in with blind faith that he's going to be a success. You've got my support, Liam. I've got my doubts. I don't think you're the right guy. I think this job's too big for you. But I will support you, and I want you to do well. You know, that's it. That's it for me. That's it for me. But chat, we're going to round this one out here. Big up to everyone that's locked in this afternoon. Appreciate each and every single one of you. We will be back tomorrow doing a preview for the Fulham game. So make sure you tune in for that. We'll be previewing the Fulham game. Make sure you're tuned in. Yeah, guys, smash the likes on the way out. Liam Rosenior is in. Calum Mcfarlane's final game on the touchline tomorrow. We've got Rosenior in the stands. And yeah, back to on pitch matters. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up for all the support. It's all love at the end of the day. Just difference of opinions. Appreciate the community as always. Smash the like. Subscribe if you're new. I will catch you lot again tomorrow. And as always, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Up the Chelsea and Blue Co out. Love.